I know, I'm fine.
وهذه الصلاة ستة كلمة قوله تعالى ربك فكبر.
الرحمن الرحيم نحمده الكريم. So we're discussing the fara'is of the salah. When we say the fara'is of salah, those things, if they are not found in the salah will not be valid. And this is also expressed in the words of arkan, like rukn. So the first thing, so yeah, in the way you got fara'il, it could actually, this could be substituted arkan. So fara'idul salati sittatun, the compulsory acts of salah, by which if any one of you left out, the salah will not be done. Sittatun, they are six. That statement that you make, that takes you. Are you with me? Tahrimatu, right? So before that, you're not in salah, but when you made the tahrima, you now go into salah, right? لِقَوْلِهِ, what is the proof to say that this is one of the arkan, one of the farais of salah? لِقَوْلِهِ ta'ala, because of the statement of Allah Ta'ala, وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ, and your Rabb, وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ, make his takbir, right? وَالْمُرَادُ بِهِ تَكْبِيرَةُ الْإِفْتِتَاحِ, and what is intended by this is takbiratul iftitah, right? والمراد به تكبيرة الافتتاح, that is the opening takbir, right? Carry on. Right. والقيام. So the second compulsion of salah, every then you have to stand. If you have the ability to stand and read your salah, you have to stand in the qiyam position. You understood that? والقيام, and the next one is qiyam لقوله, statement of Allah, وقوم قانتين, and stand in front of Allah Ta'ala peacefully, right? Right. Then next, not a condition, the next compulsion is that you have to have qira'at in the salah. Qira'at, what qira'at is wajib, what qira'at is faraz, what qira'at is sunnah. That's it later. But for this moment, understand that every salah has to have qira'at. If there's no qira'at in the salah is not done. Are you with me? Qira'ah. لقوله تعالى, because of the statement of Allah Ta'ala, فَقْرَأُوا مَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ, and recite that which is easy from the Quran. We did put a notice on the online chat. فَقْرَأُوا, right? Right. Then also every salah, every rakat must have وَالرُّقُوءُ السُّجُودُ, ruku and sajda. It must have ruku and sajda. And what's the proof of that? Right. Because of the wa ta'ala, yeah, warqa'u wasjudu, make sajda, right? Right. Then the next condition is whatever salah you're reading, whether you're reading a 2 rakat salah, whether you're reading a 3 rakat salah, when you're reading a 4 rakat salah, in the last rakat, wal qa'd is to sit right? والقعدة في آخر الصلاة, at the end of the salah, مقدار التشهد, the amount of tashahud. So the duration is to recite tashahud. You have to do that in your last. In other words, what he's saying is you can't, after the fourth rakat, just come up after sajda and make salam and think your salat is done. You have to set the duration of tashahud, whether it's a 2 rakat, 3 rakat, or 4 rakat. في آخر الصلاة, and the qa'dah at the end of the salah, مقدار التشهد, the amount of tashahud, right?
قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم لابن مسعود
Right. لقوله عليه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لابن مسعود to Ibn Allama التشهد, when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was teaching him the tashahud, he said, إذا قلت هذا أو فعلت هذا فقد تمت صلاتك. إذا قلت, when you say this, التحيات لله والصلوات والطيب, or right, إذا قلت هذا أو فعلت, or you said this duration here, فقد تمت صلاتك, then your salat. Obviously, it's not possible to recite the tashahud without sitting. You can't stand and recite the tashahud. So that shows you, it means that you have to sit that duration. So this is now from the fara'is salah, right? Of the fara'is or the arkan of salah. تماما لك التمام بالفعل, right? قرأ أو لم يقرأ. So in essence, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam has linked, he suspended completion of the salah بالفعل, with the fail of sitting. قرأ أو لم يقرأ, whether he recited the tashahud or not. So if a person sits, if he's reading 2 rakats namaz after the second rakat, if he's reading 3 rakats namaz after the third rakat, if he's reading 4 rakats namaz after the fourth rakat, he sat for the, then we say he fulfilled that farziyat, he fulfilled that rukan, right?
قال وما سوى ذلك فهو سنة.
Okay, so whatever is besides these 6 things, what the ibadat is saying, it is sunnat. So you automatically say, hey, but look, we done something, we done when we studied Quduri, when we studied madrasa, makta madrasa, we done, there are also wajib things. Wajib things means you have to do it also, right? You have to do it. And here he's saying, وَمَا سِوَى ذَلِكَ فَهُوَ سُنَّةٌ. So we know there is wajibat. This is a text of Quduri. It could be interpreted in 2 ways. One way that we could interpret is this, that whatever is besides these 3 things, they are wajib, but they are proven from the sunnah. They are not proven from the Quran. They are proven from the sunnah. You understood what I'm saying? Or it could mean like this here also, that the sunnah means the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it could mean that what is besides this is the things that the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had done regularly. He had done it regularly. It doesn't mean it is sunnat in the technical sense of the word. Remember, the technical meaning of sunnat means what? That if you do it, you get a lot of reward. If you don't do it, you lose reward, but it doesn't seriously impact on your salat, right? So that's not what is meant. وَمَا سِوَى ذَلِكَ فَهُوَ سُنَّةٌ. I told you could mean one of 2 things. It is proven from the sunnah, or it is something that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would do regularly, right? Read.
اسم السنة وفيها واجبات كثيرة.
So you see, أطلق اسم السنة. That here, Sahib Quduri, he used the word sunnat. أطلق اسم. But we know, وفيها واجبات. But we know there are certain wajib acts in there, right? Like what? What are some of the wajib acts? Wajib acts means those things that if you leave them out intentionally, the salah is not done. But if you leave them, in particular in the context of salat, wajib means if you left them out mistakenly, you can compensate for it with a sajda sahu. But if you leave them out intentionally, the salat is not done. That is the meaning of wajib, right? So carry on.
قراءة الفاتحة وضم السورة معها.
Right, so it's just I told you what is the wajib X. I mentioned to you, it means those things that you have to do it. If you left it out forgetfully, mistakenly, you can compensate with a sajjasahu. This will come later also, inshallah. Allah Ta'ala show us that day. And otherwise, if you left it out intentionally, there's no way you can compensate. You have to, it is wajib to repeat the salah, right? That's wajib. So we know besides these 6 things, وَفِيهَا وَاجِبَاتٌ, other wajib acts, كَقِرَاءَةِ الْفَاتِحَةِ, like the recitation of Surah Fatiha in the first 2 rakats, وَضَمِّ السُّورَةِ مَعَهَا, وَمُرَاءَةِ التَّرْتِيبِ, to do it in the proper tartib, like how you say takbir tahrima, qiyam, ruku, sajda, and then if it's the second rakat or the third rakat or the fourth rakat, then you do the tashahud after that, right? So وَمُرَاءَةِ التَّرْتِيبِ فِيمَا شُرِعَ مُكَرَّرًا مِنَ الْأَفْعَالِ. So those af'al in the salah that are repeated, certain af'al, like you get 1 ruku, you get 2 sajdas, there also it is wajib to do it in tartib. So if you understood what I told you earlier, if you left out the tartib unintentionally, it can be compensated for what I suggest. If you left out the tartib intentionally, you decide to make the ruku first, then you made the sajda, then you made the qiyam, etc., etc., etc. Right? Then what will happen? In that case, you not intentionally. It is you cannot compensate for the way said just now, but you have to repeat the salah, right? Right, carry on.
الأولى والقراءة التشهد الأخيرة والقنوت في الوتر والتكبيرات العيدين والجهد فيما يدخل فيه والمخافة فيما يتخافت فيه.
Right. Then also والقاعدة الأولى, another of the wajib, same thing. Remember I told you wajib is this here. If you leave it out intentionally, you have to repeat the salah in the time, right? But if you left out intentionally, you can compensate with just sahu. There's a separate subject for this. We'll do it, inshallah. Inshallah, we'll do it. Allah Ta'ala show us a day. We'll do that also. But for the time, I'm telling you, وَالْقَعْدَةُ الْأُولَى. So, qa'da al-ula, what is qa'da al-ula? If you're reading a 3 rakat salah, then after the first 2 rakats. If you're reading a 4 rakat salah, then also you have to make a qa'da after the first 2 rakats, right? So this is also wajib. وَالْقَعْدَةِ الْأُولَى, then the first qa'da is also وَقِرَاءَةِ التَّشَهُدِ فِي الْأَخِيرِ. Now remember we told you earlier that after your last rakat, whether your last rakat is the second rakat, or it is the third rakat, or it is the fourth rakat, etc., etc., in the last rakat, you have to sit. So the sitting is faraz, remember. If you left it out, the salat is not done at all. But to recite the tashahud in the last rakat, to recite the tashahud, this is wajib. Again, I mentioned that if you left out the tashahud intentionally, like how when you leave out other wajibat intentionally, then you have to repeat that salah in the time. Unintentionally, and you realize you left it out, then you can compensate with 2 sajjasahus. Right? Are you with me? Right, carry on. More wajibat in the salat. Read. وَقُنُوتِ فِي الْوِتْرِ. If you're reading witr salah, then to recite the qunut. So if you left out the qunut intentionally, you'll have to repeat it in the time. But if you forgot to recite the qunut in the witr salah, right, lady at home even, then what must you do? You can make, just change the page, you will make 2 sajjasahu after the salah, right? Right, carry on. Yeah. So another one is when you are reading each salah, for a Hanafis, to make that 6 extra, that's why you say it normally, the Imam will explain to you, it must be intention of 6 extra takbirs. So to make that, so if the Imam, so again I repeat this, if the Imam forgot to make the 6 extra wajib takbirs, then he can compensate for it with extra sahu. And if he left it out intentionally, you have to repeat in the time, right? Carry on. Right, so you know certain salat are what we call the jahri salawat, and certain salat are called the sirri salawat, right? So if it is a jahri salat, it is then you have to read loud. And if you read soft, again, I repeat, so this will sit in our mind. If you done it intentionally, you have to repeat the salah. So for example, Maghrib salah, you read the whole salah, or for the duration of 3 tasbih or more, you read it silently, then what will happen? Right, you'll have to repeat it. But if you mistakenly, you forgot whatever, and was more than 3 tasbihs, then you can compensate with sajjah sahu, right? Carry on. Right, and then opposite, and being silent, right? You are being right. So one is well jahri, to leave out the silence in the salah, which you're supposed to do silently, right? So you read, for example, in Zuhr namaz, 3 tasbihs or more, forgetfully, then the congregation reminded you, so it was unintentional, so you can compensate with what? You can consider sahu. But your intention is, no, I want to read now loud today, man, I don't want to read stuff. So you done it intentionally. So there's no compensation. In the times it's wajib to repeat it, right? Yeah, so these things, when you left it out intentionally, وَلِهَذَا يَجِبُ عَلَيْهِ سَجْدَةَ السَّهْوِ بِتَرْكِ مَا. You have to, it becomes wajib on you to make 2 sajdah sahu. After the first salam, you make the 2 sajdah sahu, right? Right. هذا was sahih. This is the correct opinion, right? That you leave them out unintentionally. Right, yeah. So I told you these 6 things, they are actually wajib. But I explained you. Okay, somebody saying they don't. No, what I saying there, what I saying is here, to read loud. These are the wajib acts. So it is wajib to read loud in the salah that should be read loud. And it is wajib to read soft in a salah that should be read soft. See, there's it. I hope that clears it for you. See there. وَمَا سِوَى ذَلِكَ فَهُوَ سُنَّةٌ فَهُوَ, and I told you, here it comes in the meaning of wajib, right? وَفِيهَا وَاجِبَاتٌ, and from amongst them there are wajib acts. What is a wajib act? يعني الجهر فيما يجهر, to read loud in which should be read loud. وَالْمُخَافَةَ فِيمَا تَخَافَتْ, and to read soft in that which should be read soft. So there's a wajib acts. I hope that explains it. Is it clear, right? Maybe I explained it wrong a little bit earlier. Right. وَتَسْمِيَتُهَا, then I was telling you, وَتَسْمِيَتُهَا سُنَّةً, this has been named here as sunnat in the kitab. That means kitab refers, so remember I told you kitab is Quduri Sharif, right? وَتَسْمِيَتُهَا سُنَّةً فِي الْكِتَابِ, and it's been called sunnat in the kitab لِمَا أَنَّهُ ثَبَتَ وُجُوبُهَا بِسُنَّةِ, simply because not it is sunnat in the technical sense of it being sunnat, rather it is just considered to be sunnat. Why? Because it has been proven from the sunnah. It isn't proven from the Quran, right? So a wajib act can also be proven from the sunnah, right? Carry on reading. Right. وإذا شرع في الصلاة, so when he starts in the salat, كبر, he will make takbir لما تلونا. Now they give you the sifat of salah first, and you say Allahu Akbar. Right? Why will he do that? Because we explained to you it is faraz, it's from the amongst the faraz of salah. وقال عليه السلام تحريمها التكبير, that the thing that makes haram, that is, before salat you could talk, you could laugh, you could eat, but what makes all these things haram is وتحريمها التكبير, it is to make takbir, right? Right. So we say, according to us, وَهُوَ شَرَطٌ عِنْدَنَا خِلَافًا لِلشَّافِعِي, Remember we discussed, we told you, shart is something which actually precedes the actual act. And faraz is what is in the act, in the ibadah itself. So وَشَرَطٌ إِنْدَنَا لِلشَّافِعِ خِلَافًا لِلشَّافِعِ. According to us, this is a condition, it is a shart, right? خِلَافًا لِلشَّافِعِ, contrary to Hazrat Imam Shafi, right? Because Hazrat Imam Shafi, okay, this one requires a bit of explanation. We stop there, we'll continue tomorrow, inshallah.